Hello, this is Pixie doing another video. I've been in recovery mode for quite a bit of time. So what I did, there's a few things that is quite important. So this kind of MGTOW, looking after yourself, health, all these kind of things, random stuff. Just me being myself, actually. I think I'm not making a huge statement. It wasn't like my lifestyle changed. I just simply was going down a certain path anyway. Just as I researched things, it made more sense and realised I'm not into certain sort of mind game stuff. I take things a bit too seriously, so you know it's kind of more suitable just to stay free and independent. But yeah, what happened recently is I think I was kneeling. I had an issue with my car. Lots of problems happened once. Things come in freaks, they say sometimes. And I damaged a bursa in the knee. Now a bursa is a bit like having a brake pad or maybe a blown gasket, but it's a pad that lubricates the knee joint. Acts like a gel or something like that, like a silicone type gel pad or something like that. And so it becomes inflamed because it's situated between the kneecap and the tendons. It inflames and ends up pushing the kneecap out of place, and it basically immobilises you. That's the function of it when it blows. It's like you're not moving. In the same with car, I mean, if you blew something in the car, it's suddenly performance would drop. So I ended up going to hospital because I did try to get local appointments, but they were just like you phone them up for 3 hours and they don't pick up the phone at the local surgery. So oh Christ! So for about a month, I haven't really done anything. I've just been doing stuff at home. I got a couple of leeches. One leech escaped though. Very crafty. Sneaked out of the lid, and because I put this little like leech tank in the kitchen, he must have shot down the sink, and that was that. But I still got one left. He's quite cute, but I've got to be careful not to traumatise because it seems to be quite intelligent as a life form. So if you're kind of like poking around at it, it's going to be like, well, I'm going to freeze up when I get near this, because it's kind of you're teaching it behaviour to be sort of afraid. And so, but it hasn't fed on me because normally his leeches feed on you, and they've got this anticoagulant and a lot of other chemicals they knock out. A lot of pain relief medication can come out of them as well. So, and that supposedly going to last about 6 months. So if you've got an injury in your body, you'll get the anti-inflammatory, you'll get the antiseptic, and also you'll get your analgesic. Yeah. So yeah. And yeah, at the moment I'm just sort of strengthening my knee joint, bring it up to standard, as I say. Because this guy might be coming fast now, he's alright. And improving strength, done a lot of research. So some things, well, the thing to aim for is a full motion movement of an exercise, because often we do kind of smaller micro ones, like if you're lifting weights, you don't necessarily go all the way back. And again, if you can't, maybe that's because you're using a weight that's too heavy, and you'll create a kind of situation where you can't really use the full range of your movement anyway. So that's a part of building strength, which might be good in the long run. My knee's a little sore. I did some kind of bath squats, just like what exercise you do and how can you use your indoor environment. So it's a bit like dips. So I just went to put my back to the bath, and then I lowered myself that way and had my feet at an angle. So that seems to be an easier way to do it before maybe moving to a more complicated one, because otherwise you'll go to the ground and your bloody knees will be locked and you won't be able to bounce back out and be like so yeah, it's more about the full motion under some sort of stress than to sort of force a maximum amount of stress, and then it's just regular exercise to bring that up to sort of where it needs to be on a normal body, I guess. So that's one thing. But the bursa, yeah, bursa's taken a while to settle down. when I originally did it, I ended up thinking it was just like a sprain or something, and if I was extra careful it'd be fine. It got a lot worse, and driving just felt like getting stabbed in the leg going home. And then the next day I couldn't walk, and I was putting loads of weight on a walking stick. I thought there's too much weight you're putting on a walking stick, and there's a mobility place close to where I live, so I ended up getting some crutches and using crutches, and then it wouldn't go away, and I kept having to say I can't go in, I'm not well. And then I needed to get something official, because after 7 days I looked for proof. So I tried to call the local GP, and first I called and they said, oh well, you have to try again at midday. And then I called again and it just rang. I think because the early slots, any emergency appointments covered the afternoon appointments, and so I did 111. They said, well, if your leg's gone all funny for no reason and you can't really trace the cause to it, like it wasn't like I got up and suddenly ouch, or sprained it or something, that there's a risk it could be a blood clot. So anyway, I went to the hospital. There's lots of people who've got some severe mental health problems and all sorts at the hospital. We just sat there in this emergency. There's people walking around with blankets wrapped around them, and somebody was screaming. I was getting an x-ray done, and I'm thinking, God, don't go for me, because I'm hobbling on my crutches and I've got some woman who wants to tear through everyone. She's going, fire! She's going mad. And so the other thing they do automatically is they take readings of your blood pressure, and they found my blood pressure really high, and they were concerned about that, because they think, well, at this level, you could just have a heart attack or a stroke. And it's like, really? Because it's one of these silent killers. So that's one of the things really for men, is get your blood pressure checked, because a lot of men die early, and it's not because they get old. I mean, yeah, work and probably stress, but they're probably prone to the high blood pressure, and you could be any size to get it. You don't have to be like Big Pete here, or Big Pixie, or whatever you want to call me. But actually, one of my neighbours does call me Big Pete because of my height, but I should just call him short, whatever. Anyway, the thing is, I mean, even my brother's quite slim, has high blood pressure that he needs to monitor, because there's a risk there. So the heart rate's high, the blood pressure's high. They put me on some medication for it, and I was just keeping an eye on it, and I could feel my heart rate, and I was thinking, God, I started sleeping more, resting more. And another thing I've also added to my armoury, I guess, is to have crikey, what is it called? Wow. When you things leave your mind, it's like not anodine, but it's basically just take a painkiller that thins the blood. It stops the clotting. So that's one of the things I've taken. Well, it's there. I don't want to take it all the time because it's not very good for your stomach, but it basically reduces your ability to coagulate your blood. So yeah, that helps. And the other thing is, like a pale blood thinner that does something slightly different. So yeah, just taking the meds, and then monitoring the blood pressure, and then some light exercises, some behaviour needs to change, like avoiding caffeine and stuff like that. I've had it with memory, just sometimes things go like that, but I think it's like a senior thing actually. I was worried because I saw someone and I couldn't remember their name. I was like, I should bloody know your name, but there was no triggers there. But I realised, I sort of checked myself short memory, because I was thinking, oh Christ, it's not like dementia or something, Alzheimer's kicking in. But the short-term memory's fine. I think it's just recall's a bit slowed down a little bit. It could be because I need to get back to better rhythms of sleep. It could be that I got some sort of damage. I don't know, because if blood pressure's high, I've had things like pain in my eye, or blood vessel burst there. So yeah. So yeah, I'm on the mend basically. So my kind of advice for other guys is just get your blood pressure checked, and also there's always things to learn about your body. You think, oh Christ, this is it. I can't drive. I can't do anything. What am I going to do? So for a month I've just been sat doing nothing, apart from little bits and bobs, and yeah, maybe just focus on the future a little bit. I took some money out for the car, so lucky I had some money in the bank, so I wasn't scraping the very bottom, because I'd hate to sort of have to borrow from other people to support myself, which is pain. Investment stuff, that's all good, just waiting for that to pop off. Strategy, diversify portfolio. The other strategy with investments is look at the history. If the market's gone into a bear market and it's dropped down by 95%, that's assuming that in the bull market it's going to make at least an 80% recovery. So you kind of put yourself into things, and then you look at how much it's gone down. You know, something was 100 and something, but now it's a £5. If you bought them shares or crypto or whatever, then there's a good chance of it popping back up. You're certainly going to make sense if you can wait that long, and that's it. Because a lot of people are just putting the money to things that are, you know, give us the money and we give you a return of 1% a day and stuff. But it's not sustainable, because it requires people keep putting money in, and then they just pull the plug on it. They've been skimming off cash, stick it in their own pocket, and then they screw people over. And somebody's got a history of it, so automatically the history should be something, a warning sign for some people. But people are like hype, they're very cultish. They're kind of like, yeah, I'm in this group, we're gonna save the world, we're gonna change everything. But they don't really have that financial background. I mean, I haven't got exactly a strong financial background, but I'm learning. I'm looking at things and thinking, well, that doesn't work. If you are going to put a play into that, a small amount, you know, what is a good investment? Probably £1,000 in crypto. If you're looking at how many noughts it could drop, you have to look at the supply of it, market cap, how many people have already invested. If there's billions in there already, it's not going to shoot to the moon. But if there's about 1 million in there, then there's that potential of it flying. So it's just, and also what does it do? So one of them, I put some money in, is deals with finance, so lending, borrowing, lending protocol, so people can borrow money against their assets and they make money out of it. So it seems to be okay. I mean, on the recovery, people borrow things to buy into projects and other things like that, and as a result, their leverage either works for or against them. But either way, it creates money, and that's important. And I think also there's this stuff with legislation and finding a balance, because they're like, oh no, you can't use that system, it's illegal. No, they just don't want people to be to actually be in credit. They want people to be constantly in debt. And I mean, you can still take out loans and stuff from your bank if that's what you want to do, but you really want to be moving forward with your life. Nobody wants to be trapped. Come on. Oh, okay. Okay. Nobody wants to be trapped. So yeah, I've got sort of clever few little plays there where things that projects take over are going to fly hopefully soon. You just look at, like I say, the behaviour. Don't necessarily set your targets too high, because something went up over 1,000%, and with the bear market, it dropped down 95%. Plus, it dropped X amount of percent as well. So it's got the potential to 1,000x. But it might time itself by 10. That's fine. So when it goes to 10, keep an eye on it. You know, where is your get out point really? So that's kind of playing with money. But that's really what I'm going to do, is just set it up. I don't want to put loads and loads of money into something. It's already got loads of money. I've flipped some NFTs. I want to buy them back. But however, don't go berserk and think, right, well I might as well just buy loads of them, because that project might fail as well. You know, it's got promises. If the promises are too big, they might not work out as well. So I think for my aim would be to maybe double the NFTs I've got in there, and that might be 4 to 5 grand, because potentially they pay out 1,000 a year. because they're part of a Bitcoin mining operation, I guess. But there's all sorts of investments. I haven't really gone to eToro, maybe I will. Putting money into that kind of stuff though, the returns is going to be quite small. Depends on the shares. I might pump and go crazy, and what they offer and everything like that. So I just have to see. So that's that. Looking forward to going back to work. I've been doing research, just watching like some paranormal videos. I mean, maybe if I feel a bit better this weekend, I might find somewhere to go and just do a bit of investigation. Just walk around and see if anything comes up on the old spirit box. See what happens. Yeah, I wonder why I can't remember that. Aspirin, that's it, aspirin. You know, the way I could do it there is I visually saw a box, because usually I take ibuprofen. That's usually my go-to. But aspirin has the power to basically block the clotting agent in your body, so it's not always good. And the thing is, what I do, going back to because I go round and round sometimes, going back to the heart, if the heart rate's high, or discomfort or any issues like that, pains internally, then it's probably good to, depending on the pain, you should be able to sense what internal bleeding feels like. That feels like when something cold runs down the back of your throat. It's like that sensation. I had it with my knee. I had this, like, I was walking around and I felt this weird cooling sensation in my kneecap, and I thought, that's really weird. Actually, this place, there we go, I need a bit of air in it. It's getting all steamed out the windows and generating all this heat. So yeah, it's just one of the things. Taking something like that will increase that. Basically, because I won't be clotting from the damage, and sometimes you need to get gunk out your system. Mum was telling me when she had her operation done, there was a gunk inside her, and so what they did is they just left her open. So it's fine, we'll leave you open to get all the gunk out, which is a bit weird. So yeah, got to think anything cool. Oh yeah, and also I tried something I've learned. I saw someone basically on YouTube, they were to clear off bird muck off the car. They used Coke. Now I was going to get some sugary Coke, but actually Diet Coke worked on it, because I had my car parked underneath this tree, and a combination of bird muck and other sorts of muck went on my car, on the roof, and I thought, bloody hell. So I took it down the car wash and I had it washed, but the muck was still on the top of the roof, and it's a bit annoying. So I put a bit of Coke on top of the roof. Probably anyone saw me thought, that's nuts, he's baptising his car something. So yeah, well, her name was Clarissa, but it's she just won't Coke necessarily all over. So yeah, I used that. It does work a lot better. I use that in a wipe. The antiseptic wipe didn't do anything, but with the Coke it breaks it down, because it neutralises the alkaline with something highly acidic. So it's all cool. What other things I've done? Oh yeah, I adjusted the pedals of my car so my legs are more stretched out to reduce stress on the kneecap. Because the worst thing is, if you can't work, is letting people down. Okay. Or the feeling of letting them down. But then again, I do need to make some lifestyle changes at some point. Come down? No, keep going. So yeah. So maybe I'll do some research, I don't know. Might be nice to go to some interesting place, and not too far afield. I mean, I could do, but I don't want to sort of go crazy, because if I'm working next week, I'm just building up my strength. I say I'm using my dip type squats. You can use other sorts of squats in the bath, like getting out of the bath uses that kind of motion. I had a chin-up bar that you can put at a lower level, and I went to do that because your knees can go right down. It was a bit extreme. There we go. So it's just set myself little challenges. I guess with romantic stuff, I looked at some emails I caught up with, but they're probably all bloody scammers. And then the thing is with scammers is you get put off engaging with them ever again, because you just think there's no point, because is this what it's all about, is online stuff. So we look at like going to Colombia. I've been researching women in China as well. You get leftover women. They were basically quite rich, or either they were a mistress to some or a rich bloke, because they come from there's more polygamy that goes on rather than monogamy in China, because of just the nature of men. If they're quite rich, if they tend to want to chase younger women, so they might have a mistress on the side. There was the kind of the boom they had in China, and there was a lot of women that become rich as well, and because they were focused on work, they get to a point where they think, well, we don't really go with these Chinese chaps, you know, they want something different. So there's possibilities. I mean, a rich woman would be great, and also the Colombian women are quite hot as well. Probably not so much Russia and Ukraine. There's so much going on there. I do feel sorry for them. There's some nice people in there, but I think you have scammers really and stuff like that. Anyways, big sign off. Have a great one, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.